We kick things off with a king welcoming a whole class of students as his new heroes. Naturally, the students have no idea where they are and begin to panic over what has happened to them. We learn that they are in the world of Eclair, which is not the chocolate dessert we all know and love. Unfortunately, this Eclair has been ravaged by a war involving the humans, demons, and beast folk. The king thanks the students for coming here again and reveals his name to be Destinia, named after the land he rules. His daughter is also there, and her name is Margaret. Destinia doesn't seem to realize that the students have not come here out their own free will, but he thanks them again. Now, we meet a boy who's on the floor, and from the looks of it, he might be our hero. He seems to recognize the king for some reason, but before that, we need some background information. His name is Suzaki Setsu, and we are taken to a flashback from a few hours ago where he is getting bullied by some of his schoolmates. They want him to bring them sandwiches and cream rolls, but he's not acting like a victim. That's when we learn that Setsu was actually sent to another world already and saved it from its demon lord. However, the king got scared of his powers, became a bit jelly. He then used a forced return to send Setsu back to his original world. Life back at home doesn't look that good because nobody wants to do the work of a hero and then be bullied for no reason. We also learn that Setsu was reborn as another person in his original world, but retained the powers of a hero. Setsu doesn't know why this happened, but then he gets distracted by a cute girl named Yuhi. She is his classmate as well as his childhood friend, and she likes to call Setsu Yuki for some reason. Our hero tells Yuhi that he's going to the cafe, and then they argue over her calling him Yuki. Now, some of Yuhi's friends call her, so she has to leave Setsu for now. Her friends don't like the fact that she hangs around with Setsu because he seems gloomy to them. However, Yuhi likes him the way he is, so she's a keeper. In the middle of this chat, one of the school kids messes up his kick, and a football goes flying towards Yuhi. She braces for impact, but then the ball suddenly stops and falls in front of her. Everyone is relieved that Yuhi is fine, but she does seem to think that Setsu is the one who saved her. This is true because our hero has awesome powers, but this is as far as the danger goes in his world. Everything seems to be a waste to him, but then suddenly, his entire classroom gets summoned to another world. Now, we are back to the present where we see Margaret and the king telling the group about the current war. Basically, the humans are being attacked by the demons and the beast folk, so the kingdom needs heroes to end the war and ensure peace. Setsu can't believe what he is seeing because it's the very same world where he was summoned before. He has already cleared this game at level 100 and now he can play on cheat mode. The funny thing is that the same king who banished him from this world has summoned him once again and does not even recognize him. This, of course, could be because of Setsu not looking the same as what he did earlier. Now that our hero has everything figured out, he plans to let his classmates do all the heavy lifting, and he will go ahead to enjoy his second tour of this world. Margaret says that she will now introduce everyone to the people who will guide them through hero training. They are the magic warrior Elka and the sword's master Grain. Looking at these two makes Setsu a bit surprised, but we don't know why he is reacting this way. Regardless, the training begins, and after a tough session, Elka tells all the kids it's time to take some rest. Since she is cute and curvy, it comes as no surprise that all the boys seem to already have a crush on her. Setsu does not care much about this, as he reveals that he does know Elka from his past visit to this world. She is the magic warrior of the frozen earth, and she used to be under our hero during his previous time here. At the same time, Setsu wonders why someone as powerful as Elka is being used as a teacher rather than on the front lines. Suddenly, Elka calls out to our hero and tells him to come talk to her in private. This is a bit worrisome for Setsu because he may have been found out. Luckily, that is not the case, as Elka is just upset over the fact that he's not putting any real effort into his training. She wants to know why Setsu isn't motivated, but the truth is that he has to hold himself back, otherwise he might create a lot of damage. Elka jokes with Setsu by saying there must be some way to get his feeble body into shape. What she does not realize is that she is the feeble one when compared to him. Setsu does not respond, so Elka gives up, although she does ask him not to be a burden on her. Hearing this seems to trigger our hero because he doesn't like being talked to this way, especially by his underling. He seems to activate some kind of demon mode as he approaches Elka with intrusive thoughts. After all, he's not going to just stand there and take the disrespect from his own underling. Elka doesn't seem to understand why Setsu has turned over to the dark side, but it's too late for her now, as our hero is going to train her again, just like he had done the last time he came here. Pun not intended. Now, without a moment's hesitation, our hero picks up Elka and it looks like he is about to awaken the beast within. Elka wants him to let her go, but he says that she has gotten too disrespectful for a girl who used to be his slave. Any slave who talks like this to her master deserves some kind of punishment, and that's exactly what our hero does to Elka as he gives her a good spanking. Elka seems to enjoy what is happening, and she also seems to remember Setsu now, because she recognizes her master's clapping ability instantly. Setsu is glad that Elka has finally come to her senses, and she lets out a scream of joy that her master has finally come back to her. Elka faints from all the joy she has just received, so Setsu decides to let her rest for a while. She does not seem to care about that one bit, because she wakes up almost instantly and asks him where he had been all this time. She was really lonely without him, which means our hero was slaying a lot more than demon lords in his previous adventures. Elka says the days were quite rough for her because she could not get punished by her master, and this is enough for Setsu to tell her to calm down. He does say sorry to her for disappearing just like that, and she says that she had no idea how to carry on without him. Now that Setsu is back, Elka gives him a tight hug and welcomes him back like a good girl. It's an emotional moment for our hero, and he really feels overwhelmed with emotions. But then he notices that Elka is simply sniffing him due to her desire to get attached to his scent again. Setsu has not come here to spread his scent, so to speak, so he makes Elka calm down. This is when we realize that Elka is actually a very submissive girl, and these desires of hers were awakened when Setsu first came to this new world. In order to make her happy, Setsu sits on Elka and then says that he needs her help for something. The slave girl is more than happy to do whatever her master requires, so he asks her a question that even the viewers are wondering. If our hero was able to end the war the last time he came here, then why on earth is there another war brewing again? Margaret had said that the demons and the beast folk were the ones attacking the humans, but Setsu is not sure if she is telling the truth. After all, Setsu had very clearly told the king not to do something so silly. That's when Elka reveals that the demons and the beast folk only started attacking the humans after they learned that Setsu was forcibly returned to his original world. This meant that there was no way for the humans to be protected, and the opposition attacked due to revenge. Of course, this means that our hero had a huge hand to play here, but calling it his fault is probably taking too much of the blame. The people of the kingdom obviously admired Setsu a lot, but when it came to the king, it was a different story. As a matter of fact, he is using the attacks as a method to rob the kingdom's folks of their money and land. The mass summoning he conducted was also only to increase his military strength and nothing else. Setsu is not at all happy to hear this, because the king is only messing around with his people rather than trying to help them out. Elka apologizes to her master because she has made him worry again, but Setsu does not think that. He has made up his mind now, but before that, he wants Elka to stand like a human again. Our hero has not decided that he will go on a journey to meet the demons and the beast folk, so that he can have them stop the war on the humans. Setsu then turns over to the dark side because he also wants to punish the opposition for being naughty while he was away. This worries even a submissive girl like Elka, but then she asks Setsu how he's planning on leaving the country. It's a rather easy option for him. as he tells Elka that she will need to proclaim Setsu as a useless student. If she does that, then the kingdom will let him go freely, and he won't have to worry about breaking out of here. Elka panics because she could never say such things about her master, but this serves as the perfect opportunity for Setsu to get back at her for earlier. He teases his slave girl regarding the impolite way in which she was talking to him before the spanking, and this causes Elka to say sorry to him again and again. Clearly, our hero is just having some fun here, and then he tells Elka that if she manages to do as he says, then he will give her 100 claps. This is enough for her to change her tone and accept the task handed over to her. Setsu starts thinking about what else he should do, but then Elka asks him if he is going to meet his other comrades as well. That's when he realizes that he needs to meet Grain as well, who is also in charge of the education aspect. We can see Grain in action now, as he takes down multiple students at the same time. He is not even breaking a sweat, and he tells the kids that they need to buckle up, or else they will never be able to land a hit on the enemy. Setsu and Elka both watch from the sidelines and are amazed at what Grain is able to do. Grain has improved quite a lot as per our hero, but he has been gone for 5 years, so changes were bound to happen. Suddenly, there is a massive attack that comes at Grain, and we don't know what it is, but he is still able to counter it by slashing it down. That's when we realize that this attack was launched by Yuhi, who seems to have some impressive mage skills. Grain too is impressed by what he sees and dismisses the class for now. Setsu, on the other hand, is surprised that Yuhi has so much potential inside her. As Grain prepares to wrap things up, he gets shocked when Setsu carries out a surprise attack on him. It's quite frightening to watch, so Grain asks who the heck this person is. Setsu is not in the mood to give direct answers, so he gives Grain a whack in the eggs and asks him to identify him via his body's pain. This is a horrendous feeling that Grain has only experienced from one man till now, and that's when he figures that the mysterious attacker is none other than Setsu. This is supposed to be a happy moment of reunion, but Grain falls to the ground as men of culture can understand how painful it is to have your eggs cracked open. Even our hero realizes that he may have overdone it, but Grain is not out for the count, so he gets back up. Now, our hero explains everything to Grain as well, and he is ready to help out his master in any way he can. He then asks Setsu if he has met Tia yet, to which he says no. We don't know who this one is, but Grain explains that she is currently in the castle's magic lab. It would be best for Setsu to go and meet her right away because she will be very happy to see him. On that note, Setsu sets off and bids farewell to Grain for now. Now, our hero enters the magic lab, but it smells like death in here. Setsu can't believe that the stench has gotten even worse from the last time he was here, and then he notices Tia in front of him. He calls out to her, and she seems to recognize him immediately, unlike Elka and Grain. She barely has a small smile on her face, but Setsu wants to know how she was able to identify him even when he has a different face. Tia explains that she has a skill which is known as the Evil Eye, so there is no way she will not be able to recognize the mana levels of a man as powerful as Setsu. Our hero teases Tia for a bit, and they seem to have some kind of sibling-level relationship. Elka seems to have already told Tia everything about their master, so she can figure out what our hero's next moves are going to be. She is almost like an esper, which Setsu finds a bit scary, but then Tia says that there's something she needs to warn him about. We don't know what it was exactly that Tia warned our hero about, because we cut straight to Setsu sitting by himself, stuck in deep thought. Now, Elka enters the room and tells her master that everything has gone according to plan. Just like he had wanted, he will now be expelled from the castle, which will allow him to do as he pleases. The announcement should be made after tomorrow's training session, and Elka seems to be quite proud of the fact that she was able to badmouth her master. Having said that, she does seem a bit upset over the fact that she will be separated from Setsu yet again. Our hero can't help it, because both Elka and Grain need to stay in the castle to train the kids. Also, Tia is one of the castle's best magicians, so it's not like she can leave either. Elka figures she should leave now, but before she goes, Setsu seems to have one more task for her. Now, we move to the next day where the announcement is being made. The king declares that there is one student amongst the current lot who is not fit to be a hero. Setsu did not anticipate his humiliation to happen so publicly, and then we see Yuhi behind him. There is certainly a spark in her eyes when it comes to our hero, and judging from her innocently intrusive thoughts, we can see that she has a huge crush on Setsu. She keeps imagining him coming to her to show his admiration, but her dreams get shattered when the king points at Setsu and tells him to get out of the castle right this moment. This is the worst possible outcome for Yuhi, but Setsu walks away almost as if he is trying to farm aura. The other students start gossiping about Setsu because they clearly have nothing better to do. Setsu steps out of the castle and comments on how it is a beautiful day for him to begin his new journey. However, he can hear someone calling out to him. It's none other than Yuhi, who charges at him and hugs him because she does not want her crush to leave her by herself. Our hero did not expect that Yuhi would have such strong feelings towards him, so he takes her to a restaurant to help her calm down. Setsu asks Yuhi if she is feeling better now, to which she says yes, but also confesses that she will go crazy if anything were to happen to him. Our hero does not want his cute fan to worry about him so much, so he wonders if he should tell her the truth about himself. That is not going to be an easy task, so instead, he tells Yuhi to ask Elka if there is a way for him to come back. As luck would have it, Elka happens to be there at that very moment, probably because she might be stalking her master. She refers to our hero as Setsu-sama, and this makes Yuhi very alarmed. Elka says that she does drop by this place often, but even so, Yuhi wants to know why Elka has such a nickname for her crush. Elka does not seem to understand the idea of keeping a low profile, so she reveals to Yuhi that she is Setsu's slave and has been taking care of him. Hearing this is way too much for Yuhi to handle, so she straight up passes out from the shock of imagining her crush being someone else's lover boy. Setsu tries to bring Yuhi back to her senses, and he asks Elka why she would do such a thing. Elka is clearly having fun in this situation, but Setsu explains how she is going to cover up the whole thing, and she does as her master says. Anyway, Setsu doesn't have to worry about sneaking back into the castle now, and Elka gives him another gift, which is his magic bag from the last time he was here. This bag's capacity fluctuates with its user's mana level, so the moment Setsu gets his hands on it again, he brings out a massive weapon, which he calls Kuro Maru. However, before he can farm some aura, Yuhi wakes up and tells him that he has never been good at naming things. Setsu did not expect her to wake up so easily, and now Yuhi asks him again about Elka and the giant sword. Our hero figures there's no point in hiding the truth anymore, so he reveals to Yuhi that this is his second time being summoned to this world. He explains how he is going to meet the attackers whom he had dealt with before, but he also confirms that his relationship with Elka is that of master and slave. Yuhi still can't over this fact, so Setsu figures it's best to leave it alone for now. Either way, Yuhi says that she wants to go with her crush too, because she knows how to fight now. After all, she did show some potential against Grain. However, our hero tells her he cannot let this happen because he knows that she is not the type of person to take another's life. This might be true, but Yuhi can't see herself surviving without Setsu. She even gets close to him and says that she wants to be with him. Setsu does not want to put her life at risk, so he tells her to train hard with Elka, who will whip her into shape very soon. Of course, the slave girl will do whatever her master wants her to do, so it's all on Yuhi. She can't stand the fact that her crush has such a twisted scene going on with Elka, so she says that she will train hard. Now that he has managed to convince Yuhi, our hero prepares to leave and he preps with some wind magic. We can finally see him farm some aura, and then Yuhi walks up to him to sparkle with some pretty flames. She says that when she first came here, She was very scared, especially over learning moves that could end other people. However, if it is for Setsu's sake, then she is ready to do anything for him. Yuhi is indeed a very sweet girl, who is a sure shot keeper, but our hero has to be practical, so he whacks her with his finger. He then explains that if she wants to protect him, then she should at least be able to dodge such a basic attack. He also tells Yuhi that if she can dodge this attack the next time they meet, then he will allow her to travel with him. On that note, our hero bids farewell to the girls and takes off. Some time passes by, and Setsu reaches a forest pretty quickly. He figures he'll set up camp over here for now, but then he hears some kind of noise. It's a bit strange because he's carrying a monster repellent with him, but then Setsu realizes that this is not a beast, but someone screaming for help. He is upset because he was ready to sleep, but a man of culture must always rise to the challenge. Our hero reaches the scene of the crime about to be committed, and sees that there's a pig monster with a snake tail attacking an innocent girl. The pig monster notices Setsu's aura, so he turns his attention towards him. Our hero is happy that he's finally able to flex some of his skills, so he brings out his giant sword. The pig monster charges at him, and Setsu launches a counter which instantly ends it. His attack is so powerful that the pig monster becomes half-cut bacon in a fraction of a second. Setsu is impressed that his sword is as sharp as ever, and then he asks the girl if she is all right. She seems to be unharmed, but she is clearly shocked by the raw power of her savior. Now that his job is done, Setsu says goodbye and prepares to leave, but the girl holds on to him and asks our hero to hear her out. She wants Setsu to become her escort, because her own guard has been shredded by the pig monster. She seems to be a merchant's apprentice who was on her way to make a big deal, but now she needs someone to protect her. Setsu tells her that he is quite expensive, but she doesn't mind because the value of the trade is pretty massive. We learn that the girl is on her way to make a delivery to the demon continent, and the item she's selling is a brooch. This item catches Setsu's attention, so he takes a closer look at it. Something about the brooch reminds our hero of someone he probably knows, so he agrees to become the girl's guard. He reveals that he may already know her client and he was heading to the same place anyway. The girl is delighted to hear this, and she reveals her name to be Ruri. The both of them make an acquaintance and decide to set off the next day. We move to the morning as we see both Setsu and Ruri at a port. The merchant girl goes to check for a departure time, but this confuses Setsu because during a war, there's no way any ship would want to sail towards the demon continent. Naturally, when Ruri learns of this, she reacts a bit excessively and now she does not know what to do. Setsu finds this amusing, but then he can see that Ruri is genuinely upset, so he decides to tell her there's another way to the continent. He makes her promise not to tell anyone about it, and then they move towards the seashore. They are surrounded by birds, so Ruri is a bit clueless as to what they're doing here. Setsu asks her to have some patience, and then he places his hand on the water. He seems to talk to someone and asks how they're doing. It definitely looks sus to Ruri, but then something seems to come from below. Suddenly, a giant sea dragon shows up, and while this may be scary to most, our hero is happy to see it again. He calls the beast a Leviathan, which means they know each other. After a brief moment of staring at each other, the Leviathan becomes overly joyous upon realizing that she is indeed in front of Setsu. She asks our hero where he has been for the past 5 years, but it really is a long story, so he'd rather not waste his time on it. The Leviathan says that she is the sea god, so she has a big heart, meaning she forgives Setsu for leaving her on read. Our hero is annoyed by this and asks her if she would like to have her scales ripped off. In the middle of all this, Ruri asks what exactly is going on over here, so Setsu decides to introduce her to his old friend. He refers to her as the sea god Leviathan, who then tells Ruri that she should be honored to be standing in her presence. once again, much to our hero's annoyance. Ruri can't believe what she is seeing because his Leviathan is the stuff of legends. Of course, there's no time to explain Setsu's whole life story, so he tells her to get onto the sea god. Naturally, Ruri can't comprehend that sentence, so our hero has to spell out to her that she's getting a ride on the Leviathan. On their way to the demon continent, Ruri asks Setsu how he happened to become friends with such a legendary beast. He says that they just happened to run into each other, but the Leviathan becomes angry and says that Setsu was the one who randomly attacked her. Our hero reasons that the sea god was rampaging at sea, so he had to stop her somehow. She counters that the war was stressing her out, so she had to let off some steam. We now learn that Setsu's ship almost got taken down by the Leviathan when they first met, so he had to give her a punch to calm her down. The Leviathan has almost been like a pet to him since then, but Ruri can't believe how powerful her savior's punches are. Naturally, the sea god is upset over being called a pet, but our hero reminds her that he made some yummy fried fish for her. This leads to another hilarious chat between them, and even though Setsu is taking this casually, it looks like the Leviathan is upset. She waited for him for so long, and now she sees him with another girl. Rizzing a sea dragon is probably a completely different level of flexing, but for now, Setsu says sorry to her and promises to make up for his absence. This makes her really happy, so she starts shaking with joy, but our hero tells her to control herself because Ruri might fall off her. Ruri holds him tight and says he's absolutely amazing. She wants to know who he really is, but he says that he's just your friendly neighborhood hero man. He just happens to know a lot of people, which makes sense to Ruri because he does claim to know her client as well. Setsu wants to know if Ruri is even aware of her client's name, so she says the name. It's in Bairu Baru's DSAS Terrace, Cell Eno. This makes Setsu curious, so he asks Ruri if she even knows who this person is. She clearly doesn't because this is the demon lord of the demon castle, whom we will refer to as Disaster from now on for ease of pronunciation. This makes Ruri scream so loudly that even the sea god tells her that she has quite the voice. Now we shift to the demon lord's castle where we see Disaster. We also realize that Disaster is more of a demon queen than a demon king, at least judging from her curvy body. Now, a nobleman enters the room and seems to thank Disaster for accepting his proposal. The demon queen looks at him and reveals his name to be Turan Sunita. She asks him if he is able to fulfill her request, which is for the Turan Trading Company to find a way to summon the legendary hero once again. However, in order to get this done, there is a price to pay, and Turan is measuring it in pillows and kitties. His intrusive thoughts are no secret at all, but Disaster is ready for it, so she tells him to make his preparations. Turan walks away and says that he will be back here in 4 days to pick her up. On his way out, Turan brushes shoulders with a demon named Brad, who clearly does not seem to like him. Brad then calls out to Disaster and asks her why she is making such a huge mistake. He is not ready to accept her decision, and from the looks of it, even the Demon Queen does not wish to go ahead with it. However, she does not have any other choice, as she remembers the time she fought and lost against our hero. He told her that they should stop fighting each other, and apparently this was enough for him to Rizz the Demon Queen as well. At this point, it's customary for comic guzzlers men of culture to say it should have been me, not him. Anyway, Disaster wants to meet Setsu again at any cost, which is why she is ready to make such a big compromise. Brad is not at all in agreement, but Disaster does not care, so she tells him not to get in her way. Meanwhile, we see Turan in his carriage with someone else, who is hiding his face with a cloak. Turan tells the cloak man that everything is going as per his plan. Turns out that the cloak man told Turan to mention Setsu to her, but he doesn't have a way to actually summon our hero. The cloak man tells Turan not to worry about it, and he looks quite scary. He just wants the ceremony to be done properly, so Turan agrees to do as he is told. The cloak man now teleports to a roof outside the carriage and reveals to us that his master has already informed him about Setsu's return. He clearly seems to be eager to meet our hero, and now we shift to Brad, who definitely thinks that Turan is in cahoots with someone. He knows they need to hurry up and find allies, but he does not know whom he can turn to. He seems to get distracted by some noise, so he goes to check it out. The guards are surprised to see one of the 5 demon generals here, but he wants to know if they are having a party here. The guards reveal that some visitors have come today, and they helped subdue a massive kraken, so they're celebrating. Brad realizes that these visitors must be strong, so he should ask them for some assistance. He does get shocked when he's told that everyone decided to celebrate by eating the kraken as well. Brad is offered some of the meat too, but he can't get over the fact that the people have chopped up a kraken for a meal. Brad's mouth starts watering when he sees the food, and he demands to meet the person who cooked this, so he is accompanied by the guards to the giant kraken. Brad can't believe that the person who is eating the kraken is none other than the sea god herself, who is now in human form, and looks the type that makes you want to say, "Hear me out." Brad bows down to her in respect, and she greets him while saying it's been a while since she's taken human form. Brad says that he'd like to know more about the kraken, so the sea god redirects him to the man who did cook the beast. It's none other than Setsu himself, who is still slashing through the kraken. The blade he is using to slash the kraken is the Schwartz that was given to him by Disaster. Brad recognizes this blade, and then Setsu shows up as well. Leviathan asks him to hurry up with her seconds, but he tells her to shut up because he's been working non-stop to give her tasty food. We now learn that the Schwartz is not an extra sword, but actually Kuro Maru itself, as our hero comments on how he has never used it to cook. Suddenly, Brad holds his hand, and he is able to recognize the demon general as well. Brad is in tears as he is happy to see Setsu once again. Brad is acting weird, so Setsu asks him what's up. He says that there's no time to waste, so they must hurry and save the demon queen. Now we move 4 days into the future, where the ceremony is about to begin. Turan seems to be ready to act out his wildest dreams, but the other demon generals are wondering where Brad has vanished. They consider stepping in themselves to stop with this nonsense. But then Disaster shows up in her bridal dress and turns everyone's heads. She's looking like a total 10, and she chuckles over the fact that she is wearing a white dress. She feels that if Setsu had seen her like this, then he would have definitely had a field day. After all, he had told her that black suited her vibe. She also lets us know that she had sent her brooch for repairs because Setsu had given it to her as a gift. Disaster wanted to have it with her on her wedding day, but it can't be helped now. The shady Turan tells the demon queen that she looks beautiful, but she does not want him touching her. They are about to get married, as the priest tells Turan he may now kiss the bride. Disaster laments the fact that she could not have this experience with Setsu, but she goes ahead with it. At this very moment, the 2 other demon generals charge at Turan and say that they are now canceling the ceremony. Their names are revealed to be Lily and Idisu, as they fire their attacks at Turan. Suddenly, the altar boys rise and use magic barriers to stop the blast. This means that the altar boys are suspicious beings, so Idisu uses his fists to break through the barriers. Disaster tells her generals not to mess with the ceremony. But then the cloak man shows up and uses shadow magic. He is impressed by the demon general's ability to break barriers, but he knows that he is stronger than Idisu. The cloak man uses a move named Shadow Piece, which renders Idisu unable to move. It's such an impressive move that you might think he's Sung Jin Woo. However, there is only room for one Aura farmer in this story, and his name is Setsu. The cloak man is about to get rid of Idisu, and Disaster tries to get him to stop, but before any of that can happen, our hero makes quite the entrance. He comes crashing in through the ceiling with the giant sword, and he saves Idisu from certain doom, although he feels he may have overdone his acceleration skill. The Cloak Man is shocked to see this, but even more surprised is Disaster, who realizes that the sword in this man's hand is none other than Schwartz. Setsu tells her that the sword goes by the name Kuro Maru now, and he also states that he has come here to save the Demon Queen, much to the delight of the demon generals. They may not be completely sure who this is, but Disaster can say with certainty that it is indeed Setsu who has come to save her. Our hero is not happy at all, because he wants to get his hands on the person who tried to hurt Disaster. The Cloak Man is pleased to see him, as he can now see how strong our hero is. He unleashes a shadow fist on Setsu, and the demon generals are surprised by how big it is. Our hero, though, just like Superman in Zack Snyder's Justice League, is not impressed, as he blocks the shadow fist with ease. The Cloak Man is in disbelief, as he watches Setsu turn over to the dark side after shredding his shadow fist with one slash. Our hero has figured the Cloak Man is the real culprit here, so he has to beat him up. The Cloak Man is not going down without a fight, so he uses his shadow spears to attack him. This doesn't work on Setsu either, as he easily dodges the spears and then rushes towards his target. They're face to face now, and our hero lands a punch on the Cloak Man's face. He seemingly is down and out for the count, but Setsu tells him that he can sense something off. Our hero knows that his enemy is not done yet, but the Cloak Man admits there is no way for him to beat Setsu. On that note, he says that he must report this to his master, but Setsu puts his blade on him and says that there's no way he's going to get out of here so easily. The Cloak Man smiles and says that he knows of our hero's biggest secret. Basically, he can't take the life of other humans, which is actually not that surprising for a hero. Anyway, the Cloak Man uses this distraction to vanish, so Setsu laments not being able to get a hold of him. Our hero gets cheers from everyone, and then we see Brad show up with Leviathan and Ruri to ask if Disaster is safe. Our hero puts his worries to rest, but then the Demon Queen hugs him from behind and calls out his name with joy. Setsu is glad to see that she is okay, but she adds that she is also untouched, thanks to him. That's good to hear from a general standpoint, but Bros Rizz needs to hesitate. He is honestly happy to see Disaster again, and even she is glad that her own crush has come back to see her. Setsu jokingly says that Disaster may be pretty, but white still does not suit her. She knew he'd say that, but then our hero says that she should wear black when she does it for real. Of course, he's referring to when Disaster gets married, but the Demon Queen thinks that he is proposing to her. She says it's very sudden, but if this is what he wants, then she's ready to wed him. Naturally, Setsu runs off to the other altar boys, because they must have some intel on the Cloak Man. This may be embarrassing for Disaster, but there are bigger kraken to fry. It looks like none of them have survived, but Setsu is shocked to see their faces, all of which are pretty badly burned or melted. This was clearly not his doing, so he wonders who these folks could actually be. Also, there's the fact that the Cloak Man knew who he was, plus he seems to have a more powerful master controlling him. In the middle of all this confusion, we see Turan, who has been in hiding this whole time. He sees this as his chance to escape, but he gets caught by Setsu before he can get out. He's in for a huge thrashing, but now we shift to the Cloak Man, who is still amazed by our hero's powers. He knew he could get to him by using the Demon Queen as his bait, which was suggested by his master. The Cloak Man then thanks one of his followers named Kajiro for doing a good job. Kajiro is not sure if leaving the Demon Queen behind was a smart choice, but the Cloak Man says that it's fine for now, although Disaster will be needed for his master's grand plan. Now, he turns to another follower named Shiro Nico and tells her that it's her time to shine. He wants her to use any means possible to defeat Setsu, to which she says yes. He also tells her not to think about running away because he seems to have her sister. Nico tells him she will do as she's told, so there's no need to worry. The cloak man then puts on an evil smile and says that he will have our hero in the palms of his hands very soon. Now, we move back to Setsu and the others, who lament the fact that Taran really didn't know much about the cloak man. He was just a shady man who wanted to have his way with disaster, which annoys Setsu quite a bit. Now, Ruri shows up with a whole bunch of freshly fried squid for everyone. It looks really good, so every helps themselves to some. Ruri has now decided that she will open a fast food restaurant in the Demon Continent, as she is certain it will be a hit. There is determination in her eyes, as this seems to be some hidden dream of hers. Setsu is not sure if the demons would be fine with that, but Disaster says it's okay. Now that our hero has eaten some good food, he decides to set off for the Beast Continent tomorrow. Naturally, this upsets Disaster, who was literally willing to give her curvy body away just to meet Setsu. She says this is way too sudden, but a man of culture must always look at the bigger picture. He says that the Demon Queen only stopped fighting the humans after meeting him, so he should go and stop the beasts as well. After all, the quicker he resolves the war, the more time he'll have to chill here. Disaster comments that he should have stayed a bit longer, but also asks him if he is friends with a girl who has really strong magic. She is called the Witch of the Sun, who specializes in fire magic, and our hero immediately thinks of Yuhi, who might get that title here. Anyway, Disaster says that even this person would not be as bad as a man named Mafuyutoma. Setsu seems to know this man, and also acknowledges that he is on a whole other level when it comes to magic power. Now, Disaster tells Setsu something very important. It so happens that Mafuyu may still be alive, but it doesn't hit us as hard because we have no context. Now, back to the king's castle, we see Elka and Yuhi training really hard with each other. Elka unleashes a series of attacks on Yuhi, who uses a flame circle to try and counter it. She is not able to control her powers that well, and it leads to her burning her own hand. Elka tells Yuhi to control her output better, otherwise this issue will keep happening to her again and again. Yuhi starts crying because of the injury, so Elka tells her they should stop the training for today. The flame girl does not want to stop even though Elka tells her she is pushing herself way too much. Having said that, Yuhi still wants to get stronger, and Elka agrees that she's definitely gotten better at this. After all, Yuhi wants to do her best for her crush Setsu, who she wants to make her lover boy. Our hero really has no idea how lucky he is. Now, we go back to Setsu, who is chilling with the sea god near the port city. She wants to eat some yummy food and has something sweet in mind. However, Setsu reminds her that they shouldn't waste too much time here, as they need to get to the Beast Continent. Leviathan says that our hero did promise he would make it up to her for disappearing for 5 years, and she wishes to eat with him. Also, she wonders if this is a date between them, which confuses our hero. Anyway, Leviathan grabs Setsu and they have a fun time with each other, trying out the food at the port. All the men of the town can't get their eyes off her, and Setsu fears she is attracting a lot of attention. To be fair, she is quite pretty in her human form, although the same can't be said when she turns into a sea dragon. However, Setsu can sense that someone is following them, so he alerts the sea god about it. The couple makes a quick turn, which confuses the creepy stalker, who is also in a cloak. She happens to be a girl, and she gets caught when she makes the same turn as the couple. They ask her who she is and what she wants, but this woman is not a follower of the cloak man. She is actually quite cute, and she asks for Setsu's help. It turns out that her people are getting attacked by a band of lizard men, and the girl reveals her name to be Amaru. She explains that her village does have some warriors, but they are not enough to hold off the lizard men. Setsu is confused by this because lizard men are not known to attack others. They are actually supposed to be dragon slaves, so their main job is to protect the nests of the dragons they serve. Amaru reveals that there is a dragon's nest near the village, and we can also see that she has beast ears, meaning she is a beast girl. Leviathan acts as if she has had a gotcha moment and says that the mystery has been solved, although Setsu is still a bit clueless. Amaru now asks our hero and the sea god to help her and save the village. She says that even now, her brother and a person named Ariziru are fighting the lizard men. Hearing the name Ariziru makes Setsu alert, which means he knows this person. We shift to the village now, where everyone is fighting the lizard men. A fighter named Lamaru is having a hard time against the monsters, and he is told to get a move on by his comrades. Suddenly, a flame lance attack hits the lizard monster, frying it harder than KFC. A woman rushes to Lamaru, asking him if he is alright, and that's when we learn that this cute babe is Ariziru, because of course, our hero wouldn't bother remembering anyone else. Ariziru tells Lamaru to keep his focus because the second wave is coming, but Lamaru turns out to be a simp, so he says that he won't lose his life before he goes out on a date with her. Ariziru tells Lamaru to control his hormones, but then she gets distracted by something, or rather, someone. There seems to be one man who is now fighting off all the lizard men, and the village folk are shocked to see how this is even possible. One lizard man is smacked away, and it lands on Lamaru, causing a hilarious scene. Ariziru worries that a new enemy has arrived, so she prepares herself, but then she notices that it's none other than our hero, Setsu. He teases her a bit by asking if she has gotten a little stronger now. He also calls her a crybaby, and then we learn that Amaru's brother is actually Lamaru, which shouldn't be tough, considering their rhyme scheme. Seeing the sword and the attitude instantly makes Ariziru realize that this is her master Setsu. Yes, this man somehow has every cute girl on this planet referring to him as her master. We learn that Ariziru was the first disciple whom Setsu had tamed when he was summoned her the first time, and she was the girl Disaster was referring to earlier, not Yuhi. Lamaru has now turned into a beta male, so he asks Setsu who he thinks he is to be talking to Ariziru so casually. He attacks Setsu, much to Ariziru's despair, but our hero takes him down with a literal finger flick which sends him crashing into a stone wall. Ariziru is concerned for Lamaru, so Leviathan asks Setsu if he has come here to help the villagers or to beat them up. Ariziru can't believe that her master has come here to help her out, but he says this is an obvious choice for him. She is his disciple after all. The god level Rizz strikes again, as Ariziru begins to blush, but there are other matters at hand, so Setsu asks to be taken to the dragon's nest. Amaru wishes to go there as well, but Ariziru tells her this will be too dangerous for her. Amaru basically wants to see Setsu in action once again, but Ariziru is not sure of that. Our hero says it should be fine because he'll be doing all the fighting, and he also has Leviathan with him, so she'll be able to protect the others with ease. Amaru then says that it would be better for Ariziru to stay here, so that she can look after Lamaru, who is still knocked out from the finger flick. It looks like Lamaru has a thing for Ariziru, which surprises Setsu, but Leviathan is having fun with it. Now, our hero takes Leviathan and Amaru with him to the cave, and makes small talk with his new friend. Amaru can't believe that Ariziru calls Setsu her master, and he says that she used to be a big crybaby back in the day. Amaru also mentions that she admires Ariziru a lot because of her skills and persona. The sea god then mentions that Amaru's brother has crush on Ariziru, to which Amaru says she hopes they can get along. Setsu doesn't care for this, as he has located the dragon's nest. There are way too many lizard men here, which makes things a lot more sus in our hero's eyes. He tells Leviathan and Amaru to stay here for now, as he will be done with his job soon. He jumps into the air and makes quite the entrance, as he slashes through all the lizard men and tiny dragons in his sight. Setsu notices that these beasts are coming from one massive hole, so he decides to close it. He enters the cave and passes through all the lizard men in front of him, and then he notices some kind of magical circle. This circle seems to be summoning all the lizard men here, so Setsu uses his wind sword technique to destroy it. One slash is all it takes for him, and this causes all the lizard men to vanish. This is extremely weird, because our hero has never quite seen anything like it. Something is definitely off over here, and all kinds of conspiracy theories can be made for this. If you guys have one, then let me know in the comments. Now, Leviathan rushes to Setsu and tells him to come quickly. It's to do with Amaru's village, so our hero wonders if something has gone wrong. Luckily, it's just that all the lizard men over there have disappeared too, so the danger is over for them. Ariziru is overjoyed, and she knows this is because of her master, but then she gets distracted when Lamour rushes towards her. He wants to celebrate with her, but she says that it's great her master managed to save them all. This obviously makes the beta male jealous. Ariziru says that they can take a rest now, but Lamour says that he'll guard the main gate because they can't let their guards down just yet. Ariziru can see that he's jealous, and this is a pity because she was going to be nice to him. Suddenly, the flame girl senses some crazy energy around her, and she notices a massive being approaching. She turns around and sees that it's a massive dragon, which has presumably flown from its nest. This could be the real reason why Leviathan rushed to get Setsu too. Ariziru goes after the dragon because she needs to make sure that everyone in the village is taken to a safe zone. Lamour is seen trying to help an old lady, but the dragon closes in on him, and Ariziru screams at him to run away. It's no good as the dragon is way too close to Lamour for comfort. Now we see Setsu and Leviathan rushing to the scene as he carries Amaru with him. He wants to confirm if the sea gods saw the same thing, and she states that both she and Amaru saw the dragon flying away from its nest. Our hero worries because he knows that a dragon might be too much for Ariziru to handle. Amaru is worried for everyone, especially her own brother, but Setsu tells her not to worry because he'll take care of it. He hurries it up now because we can see the dragon wreaking total havoc in the village. We can assume that Ariziru managed to make it in time to distract the dragon from Lamour, as we see her fighting against it. The beast is way too strong for her, and a simple tail whip turns out to be super effective. Ariziru is at her limit, and the dragon prepares to finish her off with a fire blast. She apologizes to her master and to Lamour for not being able to do much else, but before she gets blasted, Setsu makes it in time and delivers a punch to the dragon's face. Ariziru is relieved to see her master save her life, and he tells her to take it easy now. Our hero taunts the monster by saying it was taking care of his disciple till now, so he needs to thank it. The dragon is not one to mix words, so it launches another fire blast attack at full power. Setsu just stands there like a total boss and gains plus 1000 aura points by slashing the fire blast with his own flying sword attack. This is such a vicious move that it manages to slash the dragon in two as well. Ariziru would expect nothing less from her master, but he tells her not to move as he will heal her now. Leviathan and Amaru also show up to the scene and are amazed to see that Setsu has already beaten the dragon. The sea god is shocked that it only took one hit to get the job done, and even Amaru is in amazement as this was a pretty big dragon. All of this is fine, but what bothers Setsu is the fact that he couldn't sense the dragon's presence until Leviathan told him about it. Anyway, he uses perfect heal on Ariziru and brings her back to proper shape. Amaru hugs her because she was worried she was going to lose her. She asks where her brother is, but this is when we learn that our earlier assumption was wrong. Ariziru is filled with tears as she reveals that Lamour had lost his life while protecting the villagers. Seeing his body makes Amaru faint, so Leviathan tends to her. Ariziru breaks down into tears because she couldn't save him no matter how hard she tried. Setsu realizes that his disciple seems to like Lamour too, so he asks her what she would do if he would come back to life. Ariziru is shocked to hear such a thing, so she asks her master what's wrong with him. He simply tells her to answer his question. So she holds Lamour's hand and says she would tell him how much she actually loves him. In that case, Setsu has the perfect option for him, which happens to be a very convenient revival fluid which he has made himself. It takes a little time and space to use it, so Setsu tells everyone to stay here. He also doesn't want anyone to learn his secret, so he takes Lamoureux's body with him to a secluded place. Leviathan suspects something, and then we see our hero throwing away his revival potion casually. He reveals that such a convenient potion can never exist, so he was just capping back there. Setsu brings out his giant sword and awakens the gluttony skill. Suddenly, the demon sword turns into a scary mouth, and Setsu tells it to eat up Lamoureux's wounds. The sword begins its job, and things seem to be going fine as per what our hero is thinking. However, he drops down to the ground because he has forgotten how much magic power it takes to use such a move. We learn that gluttony is actually the true power of Kuromaru, which allows the sword to eat anything, right from stamina to space itself. Once this starts, the sword will only stop once it's satisfied. It comes at a massive cost, which is the mana that Setsu is currently feeding it. Normally, this would not be a problem, but our hero just took down a lizard army and an overpowered dragon. Plus he also healed Ariziru from her wounds, so he's not at full capacity. He starts to feel a bit dizzy, and is about to pass out from the magic drainage. Luckily for our hero, Leviathan jumps in at that very moment, and she holds on to him while adding her own magic power to the sword. She tells Setsu that he shouldn't be doing everything by himself, and after a bit of a struggle, they manage to complete the gluttony together. Kuromaru now reverts to its original form, and Setsu thanks the sea god for helping him out over here. Lamoureux's wounds have healed nicely, so Setsu has to see how lucky he is. Back at the village, everyone tries to put their things back together, and Amaru is still not conscious yet. Ariziru is looking after her, but there is fear and doubt in her eyes. Suddenly, the door opens behind her, and she is shocked to see that a miracle has indeed happened. Now, we move to the next day, as Setsu and Leviathan decide to move out once again. The sea god tells him he should rest some more, because he's lost a huge chunk of his magical power. Setsu is unbothered, but then Ariziru and Amaru come running towards him. They can't believe he's leaving already, but he says he genuinely can't stay any longer. Amaru is glad to have met both Setsu and Leviathan, as they not only saved the village, but also her brother's life. Speaking of which, Lamoureux is still asleep, but he is alive and well. After all, gluttony can't recover blood loss or stamina. Setsu tells Ariziru and Amaru to feed Lamoureux all kind of delicious food when he wakes up. His disciple is really grateful towards him for all that he's done, but he says it's no problem at all, especially because it's her lover boy. This makes her panic, and she says that it's not like that just yet. Either way, our hero and the sea god both tease her to no end. Even Amaru starts laughing at how easy it is to mess with such a strong fighter. Now that everyone is in high spirits, Setsu decides to take off, and Ariziru promised to become Eve stronger the next time they meet. They bid farewell, but Setsu still seems to have something on his mind. Leviathan asks him what's the matter, but he brushes it off, although he does admit something is off. When he had destroyed the magic circle, the lizard men started to disappear, which meant that the beasts came from this very circle. However, this does not explain where that massive dragon came from. Now, he asks the sea god a question, and he shortens her name to Levia instead of Leviathan, which we shall also do moving forward. Setsu asks her why the dragon appeared out of nowhere, even after the magic circle was destroyed. Levia says that this could mean a person had summoned the beast. Setsu then asks if summoning can be done remotely, but Levia adds that in order to summon something as big as that dragon, the summoner would have to be close by. This means that the person who summoned the dragon is still close to the village. Setsu does not want to waste any time, so he decides to rush back and figure out this mystery. Now, we see Amaru who still can't stop laughing, so Ariziru tells her to stop with this nonsense. Amaru says that she can't stop laughing because Ariziru will never be able to become her brother's lover. That's when we realize that Amaru wasn't wearing a cloak for nothing. She is the imposter and the person who summoned all the lizard men as well as the dragon. With that, she activates her area summon, and Setsu is not able to make it back in time. The scale of the summoning magic means that the entire village will be teleported, and then our hero notices Amaru doing the summoning. The trader is surprised to see Setsu and Livia back here, but they are shocked that such an innocent girl would turn out to be the culprit. Amaru says sorry for deceiving them. Hut adds that it's their fault for being deceived. Livia asks Setsu if he can stop this, but he says that if he tries anything, then it could harm the people inside the village. It's a helpless situation, so Amaru continues laughing and says goodbye to Setsu. She now comes back to her master, who is revealed to be a man named Toma, implying he's the same person Disaster had mentioned earlier. It looks like this is the master of the cloak man from before, and he reveals Amaru's real name to be Manhua. He is impressed that she was able to use an area summoning spell on such a huge scale, and he playfully taps her chin. Manhua seems to be in love with him the same way every other woman is in love with Setsu. Now, Toma asks if there is anyone who looks useful, to which Manhua says Aliziru is the best of the lot, and can become even stronger if they train her. Lamaru is also a decent fighter, but the rest of the village can just be turned into magical troops. Toma is glad that he has people of use, and then he takes a look at Setsu with his peeping magic. Toma is really obsessed with our hero, and he says he's coming for him right after he massacres all the demons and beast folk. This man clearly has a problem, and it's going to be a pain for Setsu. Now, we take a look at Setsu, who is sure that Ariziru and the others are alive, but has no idea to where they have been teleported. He is riding Livia in her sea dragon form, and they have reached the Beast King continent. Livia asks if Setsu is going straight to the Beast King's palace, and he says yes because he needs to end this war instantly so that he can go save Ariziru. First though, they need to go to an inn and get some sleep in a nice bed so that they have enough rest. Livia is thrilled to hear this, because she will eat some yummy food as well. The scent of this place is nostalgic to Setsu, but Livia doesn't seem to enjoy the smell of fur. Suddenly, a cat shows up, and Setsu asks if it's hungry. Livia tells him to be careful because there are tons of cats that have just shown up all of a sudden. They don't look friendly either, as all the cats attack our hero and the sea god at the same time. This being a bit of a pain, so Setsu tells Livia to cover her body with water. She does that, and then Setsu uses the skill Sleep Feather to make all the cats pass out. It's a form of taming magic, and then our hero notices that there's a trace of vision link in the cat's eyes, meaning someone is controlling them to attack Setsu. This is definitely the work of the cloak men, and it's turning out to be troublesome for our hero. Now, we see that the person controlling the cats is Nico, who was chosen by the cloak man to target Setsu. She realizes that Setsu is far above her league if he can nullify her enchantments so easily, but she still has to defeat him because her sister seems to be in trouble. Now, we move to the town where a very alluring cat girl gives Setsu the keys to his room with Livia. The sea god is not getting a good vibe from this place, but our hero tells her they can't expect much when they are in the middle of a war. Either way, they decide to go to their fluffy beds and go to sleep. The cat receptionist takes note of this, and then we see her giving their location away to Nico in the night. She has made sure to make everyone else evacuate the hotel, and Nico says sorry for putting her through so much trouble. She did not want to use dirty tricks like attacking when her enemy is asleep, but the reception cat girl tells her it's fine. It looks like everyone is an ally of Nico over here, so she goes ahead with her plan. Nico enters Setsu's room to see him and Livia both asleep. She then summons her cat claws and hopes to end this instantly. However, her slash attack does not work because this was an illusion. Setsu shows up from behind and lightly punches her through the windows. Nico lands on her feet, just like a cat would, and Setsu asks her why she is targeting him and Levia. Our hero tells the sea god to help him in keeping the surroundings safe, because he can sense that Nico is quite strong. Setsu is actually excited to see a decent opponent, but Levia tells him not to be reckless. Nico tells him there is a reason she has come for his life, which Setsu has no problem with, but he says that he's quite strong. Nico knows this, which is why she is going to give it her all in this fight. She transforms into a giant cat, which surprises our hero, but at this point, the plot can only thicken further. He is actually even more excited now to face someone who has the power to transform into an actual beast. He then tells Nico that she'd be really cute if she were small, but this form is ruining her cat face. Nico has no interest in chatting, and she goes straight for Setsu's life. An intense battle begins, as Setsu charges into the cat beast with his sword. She slashes at him, but he dodges the move with ease. Suddenly, Nico fires a beast cannon, which Setsu was not expecting. He deflects the blast with ease, but it heads towards a tower so it can cause damage to the people inside. Luckily, Levia stops the blast with her powers, so Setsu can breathe easy. Our hero scolds the cat girl for unleashing a blast like that in the middle of town, but she says that she's evacuated all the people here, so no one's life is in danger. This shocks Setsu, and he even drops his sword out of surprise. Nico sees an opening and attacks him with all her power, but Setsu nonchalantly grabs her head with one hand. He then slaps her with the other hand out of rage because she should have said this to him sooner. After all, he was holding back a lot of power for no reason. Nico is sent flying away with one slap, and she immediately turns back to her human form. She is completely knocked out, so Levia tells Setsu that he needs to hesitate a little. They check her out and realize that she is also with the cloak man due to her outfit. They want to take her for questioning, but then someone throws a rock at Setsu. It's a couple of kids, along with the rest of the town, and they all start throwing stones at Setsu and Levia for defeating Nico. This makes no sense at all because Nico was the aggressor here, but then one of the kids says that the cat girl is doing it for her little sister. Our hero is confused, so the reception cat girl shows up and decides to explain the whole situation because she did not think Nico would lose so easily. After some time, Nico wakes up, but she realizes that she's being carried by Setsu. She starts attacking him, but he tells her to calm herself down. He reveals that he knows Nico is doing all of this for her sister, and the reception girl apologizes for letting out that secret. We learn that Nico's little sister Nico suddenly fell sick one day, and has been getting worse even with assistance from the doctors. That's when the cloak man showed up and said he could cure this illness if Nico ended Setsu for him. Now, the group reaches Nico's house, but Nico is confused as to why they are here. She fears that Setsu is going to destroy her house for revenge, but Hiro is not Eren Yeager, as he just wishes to save Nico and her little sister. Nico can't believe Setsu would do this for someone who tried to take his life, but he states that it doesn't matter to him because he did not get hurt in any way. This is a bit humiliating for Nico, but she needs to be grateful. Setsu does want one of his questions answered, which is him wanting to know who gave Nico the order to attack him. Before that question is answered, another cat girl charges at Setsu and attacks him. She wants him to stay away from her sister, which means this is Nico. Her tough act vanishes in a second, as she starts coughing and falls to the ground. Nico tells her she should be resting, not doing silly things like this. Nico's state is growing worse, and then the reception girl tells Setsu that when she was fine, then both Nico and Nico could fight on par with the Beast King. It's a sorry state, so Setsu decides to fix Nico before getting his answer. Levia thinks he's being too generous, but this is what a true man of culture does. Our hero tells the Nico sisters that he might be able to cure the illness, which makes Nico extremely desperate. Seeing her face reminds him of Yuhi, so he instantly says yes, and then they take Nico to bed. Setsu uses his break light spell to search for the root of the illness. To his surprise, he realizes that Nico does not have an illness, but has been struck by curse magic. This is bad news, because there is no cure for curse magic once it's cast. Nico can't believe this, so Setsu asks her once again for the name of the person who told her to attack him. She reveals his name to be Toma, and this makes both Setsu and Livia shocked. Turns out that disaster was right, but Setsu can't believe this because he thought he had ended Toma the last time he was here. There's no time for thinking, as Nico needs to be saved, so Setsu tells the others to go outside. We know what is going to happen, and so does Livia, so she asks if Setsu can manage another gluttony spell. He has used up some magic already, but he feels the sword should be satisfied if it's Toma's curse. Everyone waits outside as Setsu unleashes the power of gluttony once again. And after a considerable amount of time, our hero steps out, looking a bit tired. Nico runs into her house to see what has happened, and is overjoyed to see that her little sister is completely fine now. Both the Nico sisters hug each other with joy, and Nico specifically can't stop crying. Livia whispers to Setsu, asking if she should give him some of her magic power, and he says yes. After all, Toma's magic is really fearsome, as it was able to satisfy around 80% of gluttony's capacity. Setsu figures that if Toma is really alive, then he will need to come up with a counter to his curse magic. Livia can see the concern on his face, but then we shift to Nico and Nico, both of whom express their gratitude towards our hero. He says it's no biggie because he can just recover his magic with a potion. Now that he has got this out of the way, he can get to the Beast King and sort out the war scene. However, there is one more twist to the tale, as someone fires spikes at Nico and injures her. Setsu looks behind and notices that the reception girl is the main culprit. This was just a disguise though, as the real villain shows herself by taking off her face. She is a follower of Toma, and will finish what Nico couldn't. Her name is Kuro Ino, and she will be the one to take him down. Of course, Setsu has other plans in mind, although he is a bit low on magic right now. Kuro is not going to hold back as she needs to capture Setsu, and she unleashes a proper spike attack. Causes an explosion, but Setsu is able to block it from impacting the others. They seem to be fine, but Setsu is annoyed now, so he's going to take on Kuro with rage. However, Livia stops him because she is not able to heal Nico from her injuries. This is because of a spell named Interference of Healing, and the only one who can counter it is Setsu. In the meantime, Livia will be the one fighting Kuro, but Setsu is not sure of this because she is on land, which is her weak spot. Livia tells him not to worry because she is the sea god after all. Setsu gets to work on Nico, but even his perfect heal is being slowed down by whatever Kuro has done. This means she is an able opponent, so our hero tells Livia not to let her guard down. So far, she is able to deflect Kuro's attacks, so the villain asks her why the god of the sea is on land, that too with Setsu. Livia expects these kinds of questions, so she tells Kuro to stop wasting time and just come at her. Kuro is happy because she knows that Livia can't go full power when she is not in the sea. This is her chance to beat Livia and raise her fame, so she goes all out with her attacks. Kuro is able to make duplicate clones of herself, and they all attack Livia at once. However, the sea god is able to counter all of them with her own water spike magic. Kuro can't believe how sea water has shown up here, but Livia says that she brings the sea with her wherever she goes. She then turns one of her hands into her dragon form and lands a finishing blow on Kuro, defeating her in the process. Kuro can't believe she got beaten by a side character, and then Livia rubs salt on her wounds by saying she's all talk and can't even complete Toma's orders. This angers Kuro, so she uses steam to obstruct Livia's vision, and it proves to be a hindrance. The sea god has no vision right now, and Kuro uses this advantage to land a sneak attack on her from the side. Livia is injured now, and Kuro prepares to launch another attack, but our hero shows up from behind and smashes her to the floor. It looks like he's done healing Nico, so he can focus on Kuro now. He then places his sword against her neck and demands to know of Toma's goals. She says that the main plan is to massacre all the demons and beast-kin of the world, but the main selling point is that Toma has found the perfect way to do it. On that note, she uses a teleportation stone and exits the scene before Setsu can do anything else. Our hero is still surprised that Toma wishes to end all the demons and the beast-kin, but he also says that there's no single way to make such a thing happen. He then turns to Livia and tells her to heal her wounds right now, because they need to go to the Beast King instantly. However, the sea god tells him she's sorry because she can't go together with him any longer. She's thinking of splitting from him for a while, and this obviously comes as a huge shocker to him. Naturally, Setsu has no idea why Livia would say such a thing, and neither do we. Now, we move to Destinia where Yuhi and the others are assembled by the king and Margaret. The time to begin the battle is here, as Margaret pumps up the crowd by saying tomorrow they will attack the Beastkin continent as well as the Demon continent. Yuhi's eyes light up because this is her moment to shine. We are then taken to a flashback from a few days ago. Yuhi is shown entering a dungeon where she comes across a rather unpleasant-looking creature. It attacks her without any hesitation, but Yuhi stands there and prepares for her move. She launches an attack on the beast, and while it isn't enough to take it down, the monster does run away. So Yuhi has proven that she is much stronger now. Elka congratulates her on her achievement, and she is quite happy to hear this. However, she is scolded and told not to get too confident just yet, because she should not lower her guard when the enemy is still alive. Elka then tells Yuhi that once the final training session ends, they will start the war, which means that she can go to Setsu, or as she likes to refer to her Oni-chan, Yuki. Yuhi even imagines herself getting praised by Setsu for being such a good learner, and all kinds of intrusive thoughts enter her mind. Funnily enough, Elka smacks her on the head to make sure she doesn't get too carried away. She reminds Yuhi that this is a war, so they have no idea how things will turn out. She also says that even though Setsu may not look like it, he is kind and will definitely come to save her if anything happens to her. This is why Yuhi must not become a hindrance, and should protect herself with her own power. She gets it, and Elka is glad to see that, but then the curvy sensei is asked why she is not going to war. She says that she still has some things to attend to, so she will catch up once she is done with them. The girls make an agreement to protect their Rizz boy to whatever extent they can, and now we move back to the present. Yuhi is determined to get back to her lover boy, and she is serious about this. Speaking of our hero, here he is again, although he's a bit sad about Livia leaving him so abruptly. She had told him that she would go back to the demon continent right away, but he wanted to know the meaning of this. It could be because of what she heard about Toma finding a way to get rid of all beast-kin and demon folk, so he reassures her that he will come along. However, Livia tells him that their common enemy is Toma, and he is not an average villain. Even someone as strong as Setsu will have a hard time fighting him, and he also has evil subordinates serving him this time. The humans are also going to start their war soon, so there's too much happening in too little time. The best thing for our hero to do would be to go to the Beast King and ask him for his help. This makes sense to Setsu, so he tells Livia that he will be off right away. Luckily, his babe was not abandoning him, but was only using her big brain energy. With that, Livia turns into her Leviathan form and says she will be waiting for Setsu. Back to the present, Setsu comments that he has never seen Livia so serious, which means that things will not be easy for him moving forward. Suddenly, a couple of girls ask him why he is zoning out as if he just had a session with Snoop Dogg. It's Nico and Nico, who say that they will do their best to support Setsu while Livia is gone. He is their savior after all, but that's just what a Giga Chad does. He is glad that he has more manpower with him, and he just hopes that the Beast King does as he says. It's been a while since he last met the king, and there's someone else he is looking forward to see again. After some time, the group finally comes across the capital city of Rizz, which is essentially a giant tree with buildings in it. They reach the gates where the guards are glad to see Nico and Nico. Setsu is glad to see that his cat girls are recognized and respected by others, so it will make his time easier. The guards now take a look at Setsu and suspect something as he is a human. However, before things can get extreme, the girls hold onto our hero and say that he is their master. The guards are shocked to see this, but they also apologize for their rudeness and allow Setsu to walk through. They enter the town, but Setsu asks his girls why they are referring to him as their master. They say that he has beaten them easily, so it is only normal to call him their master. It's a typical trope of comic guzzlers, and the girls further explain that beast girls love to serve under those who defeat them. Setsu is still a bit uncomfortable about all of this, because he is a man of culture, but the cat girls say that this will work out well for him. There are a lot of beast folk who are wary of humans, so being the master of two babes would help his case. They would even love to brag about him to their friends because Setsu is super strong. Now, they make it to the world tree, which was made into a castle by the Beast King and his blood, although Setsu thinks that this is just a waste. Anyway, the triple couple is welcomed inside thanks to the cat girls, and Setsu can feel the positive vibes from inside the tree. Setsu confirms that the Beast King is still on the highest level, and then he takes the girls with him. However, there is a sudden roar and then we see someone on top. She seems to be recognized as scent, so she jumps to the floor and surprises everyone, including our hero. She then looks up and charges straight at Setsu, but this is a mistake when you're dealing with someone who likes to farm aura. Bro grabs his attacker's neck with ease and mocks her for still being naive. He then slams her to the ground, so Nico and Nico ask him not to be so rough. He jokes and says that this is just his way of greeting this girl, whose name is revealed to be Loa. She is the same person Setsu was talking about earlier, and she is glad to see him again after so long. She hugs our hero and says she was so worried when she had heard that he was being forcefully returned. She also says that he should have come to her place right away when he had returned. Setsu says sorry to her, but also says that a lot has been going on since he came back. He then proceeds to play with her in shady fashion, but it's like how you'd normally play with a kitty cat. Of course, Loa feels a bit shy because they are in public, but it's too late as everyone's jaw drops at this sight. Even the Nico sisters can't believe what they are seeing, although they wouldn't mind getting treated the same way. Loa now recovers from the excessive playing, and she is thrilled that Setsu has indeed returned. Our hero also tells us that she is the daughter of the Beast King, and he is glad to see that she has not changed. He has something important to say to the Beast King, so he would like to meet him right away. We now meet him, and he looks like a lion and human hybrid. He pokes fun at our hero by saying he now looks like a thin boy as compared to what he was when he last came to this world. He can still identify him by his scent though, and he seems to know that Setsu has been through a lot. The both of them do a fist handshake at first, but then the Beast King unleashes his incredible strength to create tons of pressure. Setsu is cool as a cucumber, but the Beast King wants them to celebrate their reunion with a battle. Setsu says that he has something to take care of first, so maybe they can fight once he's done with that. The Beast King is a bit sad to hear this, but he can understand that Setsu is taking it seriously, especially because he has the Nico girls by his side too. He asks if this is something to do with the war, and Setsu explains that he needs him to send some backup to the Demon Continent. The Beast King is not sure if the Demon Continent needs reinforcements because they do have Setsu, who should be more than enough. Bro is pleased to hear that, but he reveals that the human kingdom is not their only enemy here. It's time for the big news, as Setsu tells the Beast King that Toma is alive and he has found a way to end all beast kin and demon folks too. This is bad news for sure, and the shock on both the Beast King and Loa says it all. Our hero says that he doesn't even mind if they send a few people over to the demons, as long as they are strong fighters. Loa says that if this is the case, then she will go with him, but Setsu is not sure about this. The Beast King would like to go as well, But he can't just abandon his continent during such a tricky situation. He asks if Loa will be enough, so Setsu figures he might as well make do with what he's got. He is ready to take his new babe with him, but then he is asked to wait by a wolf man who shows up out of the blue. It's as if a shady character has appeared, because he says that he won't let Loa go, and she is not too thrilled to see him here. Setsu does not recognize this man, so he introduces himself as Ruga, also known as the Wolf Blade. The most shocking bit of news, though, is that he is apparently Loa's fiancé, which causes Loa to make a funny face. Ruga now reveals that he has received notice of the human kingdom commencing their attack on the demon continent, which is all the more reason for Setsu and the others to hurry. Ruga says there is no need for that because the demons are supposed to be enemies of the beastkin. He does not wish to share their manpower with them, and since their own kingdom is in danger, he does not see the need to listen to our hero. Loa violates him immediately by saying she would never listen to someone like Ruga, and will go with Setsu in a heartbeat. This is some serious emotional damage, so the wolf man begs the Beast King to listen to him. He may have made some sense, but even so, the Beast King wants to hear what Setsu has to say about this. This is yet another insult to Ruga, so he asks his king why he is siding with the human instead of his own people. The Beast King says that it's mainly because our hero is his friend. This is a bit much for Ruga to digest, so he wishes to know who exactly this Setsu guy is, as he has not watched the previous video on Comic Guzzlers. Now, Loa says that Setsu is the man who will become her master, but even Setsu did not expect to hear such a thing from her. Ruga can't believe this, so he tells Loa that she can't do this as she is his fiancé. However, she tells him to shut up because he is a fool, and she had decided on making our hero her master way before she met him. Ruga now looks at Setsu with anger, because he is going to lose his wife to a human. However, this is awkward for our hero, as he did not even get a chance to say anything on the matter. Nico suddenly says that Setsu is her master, but Nico tells her not to complicate the matter any further. The Beast King comes up with a solution, which is to have both Setsu and Ruga engage in a duel. The Wolfman is surprised by this, but our hero did get the idea such a thing would happen. The Beast King says that he will listen to whatever the winner says, which is a fair point. Setsu asks if he can just beat Ruga here and get it done with, but the Beast King wants to see a fancy battle. Ruga says that there is no way he will lose to a human, but Setsu laments that he will have to give the Wolfman some public humiliation. Now, Ruga asks Loa if she will become his wife if he wins, to which she says yes, but also states that there is no way the Wolfman is going to beat the main character of this story. Setsu asks her not to make things more complicated, but she just makes a cute face and asks him to protect her. Ruga is really upset, but he decides to go and prepare the arena for their encounter. As he leaves, we can see some kind of mark on the Wolfman's shoulder, which Setsu is also able to spot. The Beast King is glad to finally get his battle, and he decides to invite a full audience to liven things up. Now, we move to the battle arena, where there are tons of people in attendance. A lot of people are cheering for Ruga because they want to see him beat a human. However, Setsu is just concerned that things are not going as per his plan. The spectators think that our hero is weak and scrawny, but then they hear the Beast Girls cheering for their master. The power of Rizz can never be underestimated, so Setsu waves at his harem babes, but this only makes Ruga all the more agitated, which seems to affect the mark on his shoulder too. The Beast King shows up and asks both the participants if they are ready to fight for his daughter's hand in marriage. Setsu continues to lament how troublesome this thing has become, but Ruga thinks that he is acting this way because he is scared. He even mocks Setsu by saying he is from an inferior race, but he only responds with sarcasm to make Ruga look like a fool. Now, the Beast King commences the battle, and Ruga charges at Setsu with all his might. He's quite quick as he gets to Setsu in no time, almost surprising him in the process. He launches a slash attack and thinks that he's going to get a direct hit, but our hero evades him with ease, much to his dismay. Setsu does admit that the Wolfman is as fast as the Flash, but Ruga gets annoyed, so he tries another slash attack, which he also misses. Setsu mocks him by saying even with this speed, he won't be able to land a hit on him. This agitates Ruga even further, so he unleashes his flying claw attack, which is a long-range blow. The attack comes in fast, but Bro is unfazed as he is able to slap it away with no effort at all. Ruga is shocked by what he sees, but Setsu is even more surprised. After all, he is not able to figure out how someone as weak as this wolf man was able to become Loa's fiancé. This is yet another violation, but Ruga replies by saying he had won her in an official fight. He then asks Loa to confirm this, and even Setsu looks back to make sure this was actually what happened. She is put in a tight spot, but she does admit that it is true due to it being her girl day at the time, if you catch my drift. In case you don't, it essentially means that Ruga defeated Loa during her time of the month, so he basically had a cheat code. Setsu is bewildered by what he has just heard, so he asks Ruga if he would really try such a cheap trick. The wolf man is bothered enough as it is, so he tells our hero to shut up. He states that a win is a win and Loa is his, but now Setsu gets annoyed because this is not the way of a Giga Chad. He tells Ruga that there is no way he will let such a pathetic man take Loa as his wife, and it makes her quite happy to hear this. Now, Setsu openly challenges Ruga to use his beast transformation technique, although the wolf man is taken aback to hear this. Our boy is confident enough to show the difference in strength between them, so he challenges Ruga to transform now. This is rather insulting, so Ruga tells Setsu that he better not regret what he has just asked for. With that, he begins his transformation and goes beast mode in the form of a giant wolf. The audience cheers for this because they don't think any human will be able to trump this, but they clearly have no idea whom they are dealing with. Ruga in his beast form now launches a vicious attack aimed at Setsu, but he is able to dodge it yet again even with his opponent's increased speed. It's time to finish things off, so he grabs the wolfman's paw and lifts him up. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. He then ends the fight by flinging Ruga into the walls and having him crash into them pretty badly. The wolfman is not in good shape now, as the power he has just witnessed is far too great. Setsu mocks him again by asking if he is ready to resign now. Ruga can't believe this, as he sees everyone in the audience talking about how one-sided this match is. Even Nico and Nico state that they feel a bit bad for Ruga because he never really had a realistic chance against their master. Loa is just happy to see Setsu fight for her, and she screams out to him, saying that she loves him. This is a bit goofy from her end, so our hero asks her to pipe down. Setsu then turns to Ruga and tells him that they should end this farce now, as he has no reason to humiliate him further. Ruga knows that he has no chance, but he also does not want to give up Loa so easily to Setsu. However, it looks like there's enough negative energy inside him now, so Toma appears out of the blue. He talks to Ruga's soul and tells him that he can't give up now if he wants Loa. The wolfman doesn't know who's talking to him, but Toma makes him turn to the dark side by sharing some of his own power through the tattoo on his shoulder. Suddenly, the symbol on his shoulder lights up, and everyone now has cause for concern. Even the audience watches on as something horrific happens to Ruga. He transforms even further into a scary monster, which is far more powerful than his beast form. The audience has no clue what is going on, but our hero does, because he realizes this is exactly what Toma's spell can do. He is not paying attention to his opponent, so Loa warns Setsu, but it's too late as Ruga charges at him. Our hero is able to block the attack, but he is dealing with someone closer to his level now, so he flies into the wall and crashes into it. The audience thinks that the fight is still on and Ruga has pulled an Uno reverse, so they cheer him on. However, Setsu comments that these people have no idea what kind of power has been infused into Ruga now. The problem is that the wolfman's body may not be able to handle this kind of power, so his body might explode. We can already see his muscles tearing, but Ruga is far too gone to pay attention to that. He wants to end everyone over here, as he charges at Setsu once again, so our hero realizes he needs to get a little serious now. He won't be able to keep Ruga alive and beat him with just his bare hands, so he summons his sword. He jumps high into the air to dodge the attack and figures he will need to stop his opponent's movements. Once he does that, he can use gluttony to undo the curse, so he slashes off Ruga's arm. It's a clean strike, But the beast is able to regenerate, which presents a whole new problem to Setsu. Our hero needs to think. But then Loa shows up to help him. This is not a wise move, so he scolds her for coming to the danger zone. Seeing Loa agitates Ruga even more, so he screams that everyone should just drop dead here. He unleashes a surge of energy, so things are not looking good for the spectators. They try to make their way out, but something seems to be affecting them. Everyone's body suddenly starts to feel heavy, and even Loa drops to the ground. She does not understand what is going on, so Setsu explains that this is called the pandemic contagion, which is also like a curse. This curse is spreading with Ruga being used as the core, so if normal people are exposed to it for a long time, then they will lose their lives eventually. Loa asks Setsu how to stop the curse, but he says the only way to do it would be to destroy the core, meaning Ruga over here. Bro has to take care of this quickly because even someone as strong as the Beast King is starting to feel the effect of this curse. Loa is struggling as well, but Setsu does not know if he has the heart to take Ruga's life, as he is the victim here. In the middle of this mess, Ruga still calls out to Loa, meaning he is still a simp for her. He tries to get her, but he charges at Setsu as well, so our hero has to dodge the attack. Setsu knows he can end all of this quite easily if he ends Ruga, but that is not the way of a true Giga Chad. This makes him remember the time he had ended Toma the last time he came to this world, but he also gets distracted, which allows Ruga to locate him. Mineko calls out to her master and launches a flying kick at the wolf monster like a total babe. Setsu asks her if she is good enough to move with the curse around, to which she says yes, but Nico and the others are not holding up so well. This makes sense because Mineko has already had to deal with one of Toma's curses, which means she has developed some resistance towards them. The cat girl is shocked to hear this, but Setsu confirms that this whole mist is Toma's curse, which is being spread through Ruga. Our hero explains that the only way to lift the curse is to end Ruga, and Mineko understands the assignment. She says that she will divert the wolf monster's attention, allowing her master to finish him off. However, Setsu tells her they can't just end Ruga's life, although everyone else's life depends on it. Setsu says that Ruga is only being used, so he can't let him die like this, otherwise he would have ended this fight a long while ago. Mineko can understand his sentiment because she was also put under the same curse, and Nico had done horrible things to try and save her. She is ready to follow her master's lead, which is fine, but the problem is they still don't know how to stop Ruga the peaceful way, and he is going to attack them again. Setsu says that he is going to take a huge gamble now by trying to use gluttony to take in all of the curse even with Ruga rampaging like this. Mineko asks him if he can really get it done, but he says he is not sure of that. Of course, it's not like he has any other option, as he is out of ideas. Setsu does say that he will be vulnerable while using gluttony, so Mineko will have to protect him through this process. She is fine with that, so it's time to kick things into overdrive. Ruga charges at them, and they prepare for their counter, but something completely out of pocket happens. Someone else slashes Ruga's head off and sends it flying away. Setsu can't believe what he is seeing, as the wolf monster's headless body now stands in front of him. That's when a shady character appears, and it's the main villain of the story. It's Toma, and he tells our hero that he should not go through so much trouble for someone like Ruga. Toma now stands on top of the slain wolf monster and tells Setsu that he has really missed him. What exactly is Setsu going to do now against such a powerful opponent? There are way too many people here, including his babes, so fighting would not be a wise option. What does Toma want from all of this too? Why would he curse Ruga if he was going to end him anyway? There are lots of answers to be found, but unfortunately, that's where this video ends today. For now, you can like, share, and subscribe if this is the ideal Iskeai'd life you want to enjoy. We have tons of other videos at Comic Guzzlers for you to enjoy as well. Let me know in the comments if you want me to continue this story, because I know it already has an anime adaptation. Okay then, I'll see you in the next one.